Welcome back, guys. If you are just joining us, this is INX Prime Live. Remember, we are on your screens every single Monday to Friday between the hours of 6 p.m. and 8 p.m. Now, tonight we are chatting to Ebrahim Patel. He is the director and chair of the International Trade Committee at the Minara Chamber of Commerce. Now, we will speak to him this evening about the upcoming Minara Business Awards, which is a celebration of outstanding achievements by Muslim-owned businesses, Muslim leaders, and also professionals, as well as community builders in South Africa. Now, it is actually going to be their 13th annual year, and the awards continue to recognize and honor the positive impact these individuals and organizations have on the country's economic and social development. Now, we are joined by Mr. Patel. Assalamu alaikum and welcome to INX Prime.
Alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and shukran for talking to us.
No,
Apologies for the technical delay. We have a huge storm in Durban at the moment.
No, it's definitely a pleasure having you on the show as well. Let's get straight into this conversation. I know a lot of people are very excited about the Minara Business Awards in particular. But first, can you give us a brief history on the awards itself and explain what inspired the Chamber to actually launch this kind of event?
As you pointed out, it's 13 years in existence. So that means we started this awards 13 years ago. And the reason why we looked at this awards at the Minara Business, and it's called the Minara Business Recognition Awards, is to recognize the excellence in our community. There are a number of businesses, organizations, individuals who are doing such extraordinary things in our community and across our country and across the globe. And these individuals need to be recognized, or these businesses need to be recognized for the contribution that they make, not just to the Muslim community, but to society at large. And the idea is that in recognizing them, it encourages them to excel more, but at the same time, it inspires a younger generation and it inspires others to achieve the same.
No, that's brilliant, without a doubt. And I'm sure a lot of people are very excited for the awards in that. I just wanted to cover some of the questions and comments that are coming in from social media. A lot of people wanting to find out a little bit more about the awards in terms of its criteria. In that sense, what are some of the criteria that is used to select winners? And also, how has the selection process evolved over the last few years?
So the selection process is a very simple process. Nomination is invited from the public, so anyone can nominate anyone else for any one of the categories. So there are a number of categories. There's the business entity of the year, and that is broken down into large, medium, and startup business. Then we have the business person of the year. So these are the different criteria. And then we have the community builder of the year as well. And the community builder recognizes someone who is giving off their time and their effort to contribute to the community. And so it would be someone who is involved in humanitarian work or philanthropy, or even just assisting people in small ways. So these are the different categories. The criteria that is applied in each category is different. For instance, in the business person category, it looks at the achievements of the individual by themselves and what they've done over the period of time. So and it looks at a balanced approach. It looks at the achievement in business together with the contribution to society. In the business entity, it looks at the business itself and not the individual in the business. So it looks at how well the business is doing, how the business has grown, the strategy of the business, succession planning, and various other criteria. And the same applies to the professional and the businesswoman and the community builder. Over the years, we have evolved the judging process. We have an independent panel of judges made up of 3 judges who remain anonymous so that there is no correspondence entered into with the judges and there is no bias with the judges as well. So these 3 judges that are professionals by themselves, that come from both the accounting and legal fraternity, look at the nomination and the submissions, and they go through a scoring criteria. They will call for more information, and out of that come the finalists. And from the finalists, they then ask for more information and go through the finalists in greater scrutiny, and then the winner is chosen from there. So I must make it clear that as the Minara Chamber and the board of the Minara Chamber, we are not involved in the judging process. We manage the actual awards itself, but the judging process is by an independent panel of judges, and they look at the nominations and they score the nominations, and they will determine the winners. So interestingly, that as a director of the chamber, I don't know who the winner is until the day of the award. And this is to make certain that there is no intrusion into the judging process.
No, again, thank you so much for sharing that. I mean, it gives us the transparency that I think everyone would love in any award program in that sense. But also just touching on the fact that, you mentioned all these different types of awards when it comes to promoting women, promoting young people in the country. And it's something that we definitely need to see more of. Another conversation that a lot of people are having is about the fact that there is quite a break in terms of a connection between a lot of your old established Muslim-owned businesses as well as your young up-and-coming SMMEs, especially where they are Muslim-owned businesses. And I think, to be able to create that connection again or that link is something so important. I wanted to know in that sense, how does the Chamber actually promote the success of Muslim-owned businesses and professionals beyond just this award ceremony?
So the Chamber has a number of events that we have throughout the year, networking events where people can meet and interact with businesses. So on a number of occasions, we would invite successful business people to come and share their journey with the younger generation and with aspirant entrepreneurs. The challenges that they've faced, how they've overcome those challenges, where they found the opportunities, how they've managed their businesses, and how they've grown those businesses. And in that way, that sharing and that knowledge exchange takes place to encourage a younger generation. So these events are had in Durban, Johannesburg, and Cape Town through our 3 chapters on a regular basis. So whether it would be on a coffee connection, and we try to keep it sometimes as informal as possible so that there's more interaction that takes place. So, whether it's a successful entrepreneur who has done extremely well and now comes and shares their journey, that is used as an encouragement. And as you point out, we need to create the link between the older successful generation and the younger emerging generation so that that knowledge transfer takes place. And in certain instances, you then have a succession planning as well. We have also found that a younger generation knows a lot more about the business environment as it exists in current times than the older generation does about current times. So the older generation has been extremely successful given the time period that they were in. But with the changes that we have found in globalization, connectivity, people doing business now over the internet, and this link in technology, a younger generation understands that a lot better. So by bringing in the experiences and the knowledge of an older generation and merging that with the experiences and the current scenario of a younger generation, you can create far more successful businesses.
No, without a doubt. And I mean, also just touching on something else, Mr. Patel, I'm looking at some of the comments and questions coming in from social media. And I mean, one of the comments that came out as well was that, we need more case studies in terms of our Muslim-owned businesses. They were making reference to, a brand called Batu, which is a black-owned business when it comes to a sneaker brand. He's done exceptionally well by the name of Theo Beloy. But they were saying that, we want to see that within our Muslim-owned community in that sense. So someone like a Switch Beauty, for example, has done extremely well in the beauty space, would be a great revenue or avenue in that sense to be able to push out content like that. Another question that is coming in is when and where will the Minara Business Awards 2024 actually be held?
So this year's event takes place on Friday, the 25th of October in Durban at the Orient Islamic Hall in Centenary Road in central Durban. And we've chosen Orient, it's a school, it's the Centenary Hall of the school. And we've chosen that location because of the historical links between the Orient School and the community. And so in that way, we also recognize the contribution that that education institute has made to the wider business community. A number of our successful business people have gone through that school. The event takes place on the Friday evening. We have Riaz Hapaji, who is the Vice President of Toyota South Africa, as the keynote speaker, and Naledi Pandor, the former Minister of Foreign Affairs of International Relations in South Africa, will be presented with a Lifetime Achievement Award.
That's brilliant, and I'm sure it does sound like quite a good lineup of speakers as well. I just want to touch on some of the other questions and comments coming in. People want to know about tickets. Are tickets still available for interested individuals to attend the event? And also, how can they actually go out and purchase these tickets or learn more about the awards?
Well, demand has been extremely high for people to attend the awards. And at this moment in time, I think there is only one seat that is left. and all the other tickets are sold out. So unfortunately, physical presence at the event has closed. Ticket sales have closed as well because the event is now sold out. But people can still follow the event on INX because we have partnered with INX to carry the event to its viewership across the globe.
That's brilliant. And I mean, a lot of us are definitely looking forward to it. Guys, don't forget that you can actually watch the Minara Business Recognition Awards live on INX in that sense. But just touching on a few other, questions and comments that are coming in. And a lot of it has to do with some of the awards that you guys have. I know we spoke about promoting women, but I want to come back to the concept of, a community builder in that sense. Why did you find it so important or necessary to be able to include, an award like a community builder when it comes to this business awards?
There are individuals in our community that are selfless. They devote time and attention to helping the marginalized, those that are facing challenges, and we need to recognize them. They do it out of a voluntary perspective, so they are not getting paid for it. They are mere volunteers who give off their time and their effort, and sometimes even their own money to assist those that are less fortunate. And we need to recognize them. In recognizing them, we encourage more people to assist more. And if we can create more good in society, we uplift all of society. And in that way, it is the concept of when we give from ourselves, when we give money, we give a little. But when we give our time, we give a lot more.
That's very, very true. And I mean, also just touching on your portfolio as well, being the chair of the International Trade Committee as well. I mean, you practically interact and you actually understand the value of South Africa when, other countries are looking at our country in that sense, but also looking at what South Africa has in terms of assets, whether it's fresh produce or anything in the import-exporting space. I just wanted you to perhaps share some knowledge and advice as well. There's a lot of SMMEs in South Africa, a lot of young startup businesses. We do have a high unemployment rate, so there is a lot of SMMEs in the country. What advice do you have for them? We do have that very, very high unemployment rate of about 74% among our young people.
Well, it's interesting that you talk about the opportunities and the potential of South Africa. This morning at an event in Durban, it was the similar input that I had made, is that South Africa has huge potential. We are the breadbasket of Africa. The agricultural sector of South Africa contributes a significant portion to our GDP, and we export to a number of countries across the globe. So there are opportunities both in agriculture, manufacturing, and even in the SME space. Advice to SMEs would be, or someone who is an aspirant entrepreneur, you made the comment that high unemployment could be addressed by entrepreneurship. And yes, that is something that the government is looking at as well, is how do you encourage an entrepreneurial mind and the SMEs to alleviate the unemployment issue. But we must be clear that being in business is a challenge. It is not an easy sector. Business is a very difficult sector. It is something that you need to have a lot of toughness for. You have to put a lot of strength, effort into it. And success does not come overnight. You have to be in for the long haul. It takes a long time to build a business. So you ask an older generation how many years it took them to build that business. It took them a number of years. So, as a common example, Anglo-American, which at one stage used to be the largest gold producer in the world, took 75 years to get to a 100 million rand valuation of the company. Yet it took a company such as WhatsApp or as Facebook to get to a $15 billion valuation in less than 3 years. So the scope and change that has happened in business is phenomenal. But at the same time, not everyone can be a Facebook, not everyone can be a Google, not everyone can be an Amazon. And we're all building small business. We're all building businesses from a small start. And, it's a very interesting concept that people look at large businesses and say that these large businesses have been successful and I'm a small business. I don't believe that there's such thing as a small business. I think that we are all large businesses, but we're starting off small. So when we start off small and we build sustainability in that business and we build that business for a long haul, that business becomes more successful and it remains for many, many years.
No, this has been a brilliant conversation. Mr. Patel, thank you so much for joining us tonight on INX Prime Live.
Shukran. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. And follow the Minara Business Awards on Friday the 25th, carried on INX Prime.
Perfect. We definitely will do so. Guys, that is Mr. Ebrahim Patel, who is actually the director and chair of the International Trade Committee, just telling us about the Minara Business Recognition Awards that is coming up, and it will actually be shown on INX Prime so that you guys can watch all of the different winners, but also identify all of the community builders and leaders within our space. Now, on that note, we are going to take a quick ad break. We'll come right back.